Welcome, everybody. Welcome, fellow patriots. Welcome, fellow deplorables. Welcome, fellow dregs of society. Welcome, all you rock dwellers. Welcome, all you sycophants. Welcome, all you stinkos. Welcome, all you hateful people who celebrate the president. Welcome to the Conservative Commandos radio show. I'm Rick Trader, coming to you from the studios of the Conservative Commandos radio network. And joining me today as my co-host is the patriot from the battle-born state, the silver state of Nevada, and that is Sharron Engel. Sharron, welcome back to Conservative Commandos.
Thank you, Rick. It's always a pleasure to be here with all of our listeners and just to discuss current events. Wow, we've got some really current things going on. I guess last night, the whole crisis kind of escalated in Iran when the people found out that Iran's military shot down that commercial airliner with 176 people on board. Interesting stuff. They were trying to lie their way out of it. They said America had done it, on and on and on, blame, blame, blame. But the people finally realized it was the military, and the military fessed up. That crash killed 82 Iranians, 63 Canadians, 11 Ukrainians, 10 Swedes, and 4 Afghans. So they really killed a lot of innocent people with this. And now, of course, they're saying, well, it was a big mistake, just a big mistake. Oh, well.
Well, also the reaction here in this country, you got Pete Buttigieg, okay? Pete Buttigieg, candidate for president, mayor of South Bend, Indiana. The guy who got a total of 8,515 votes to become mayor, which has jettisoned him into the presidential discussion here. He said that the United States is partially blamed for the downing of that jetliner because of escalating tensions between Iran and the United States. I mean, this guy has a problem between his ears. I don't think this guy is fit to become president. And then you have Elizabeth Warren. Elizabeth Warren at a campaign rally said that she couldn't think of a good reason why President Trump ordered the recent deadly airstrikes on Iranian terror leader Soleimani. I mean, these people, Sharron, are not fit to be president. And then, on top of that, talking again about the Middle East, we have the Iraqi ambassador. The Iraqi ambassador said Monday that the country is in negotiations to purchase the Russian S-300 missile defense system. And he said the killing of Soleimani clearly shows the need for Iraq to improve its air missile defenses. Against who? Against the United States? Sharron, I thought we were the good guys there. I thought they were Iraqis were now our ally. We retrained and re-equipped their entire army, and now they want a missile defense system to protect Iraq from the United States?
Maybe they want to protect themselves from Iran. Iran, they're trigger happy over there. I can see why everybody would want their own red button now. You know, when you've got Iran going crazy, shooting down commercial airliners, nobody's safe. This was a Ukrainian airliner, and I thought the Ukraine was, kind of a neutral country, and you go after them with 83 of your countrymen on board. It just doesn't make any sense. all of this whole thing. They had a quote here I thought was interesting. They tell us the lie that it is America, but our enemy is right here, the crowd shouted at Tehran's Shahid Bashedi University and compared the Revolutionary Guards and their paramilitary allies to the Islamic State. You're our ISIS, they said. It's kind of interesting. We had an opportunity during Obama's regime to go in and kind of support the revolutionaries there. They didn't really want our military aid. They didn't really want our financial. They just wanted us to say, go do this, and we didn't do anything. We just stood back. I can remember the tweets coming out of that revolutionary attempt, and there was nothing done. And now we're kind of reaping the what we sowed there by not acting on helping people who want to overthrow these kinds of regimes. It's not us going into overthrow. I don't think that we should be involved too much in that. But when a country is seeking freedom, we shouldn't stifle their efforts either. It's kind of like the protests in Hong Kong. We've been fairly supportive with our rhetoric of the protests there in Hong Kong. We haven't sent anybody or any money in order to support that, but we have said that their cause is just.
Well, do you remember back at that time, that was right around the time that there was an uprising in Egypt that overthrew their government? By the way, Obama was for that. And then also in Libya, the uprising that got rid of Gaddafi, and by the way, Obama was for that. Then in Tunisia, there was problems. Obama was for that. And in each of those cases, the U.S. turned out to be in a worse situation because of that. The one area where he didn't intervene, the one area where he could have, where it would have been good for America, was in Iran. And Democrats, by and large, I think, have really messed up in Iran. After all, it was Jimmy Carter. It was Jimmy Carter that actually got us involved in all this mess over there when he refused to support the Shah of Iran. Now, the Shah of Iran wasn't a good guy. Well, what he was an ally of the United States. Jimmy Carter refused to support him. He was overthrown. We get the present government in, all the Ayatollahs. Thank you for that. You knew I was searching for that word. So we get the Ayatollahs, and we've had this mess ever since. 40 years later, we're still dealing with failed policies from a failed presidency of Jimmy Carter. And for quite some time, we're going to be suffering from the failed policies of Barack Obama. Another failed policy of Barack Obama is when he gave all that money to Iran, which they're used to funding terrorism today. People in America got to realize, people in America need to remember what history has taught us. Let's not make these mistakes again.
Well, I don't think we are, because Trump tweeted out that he says, do not kill your protesters. And then he followed that up with, the world is watching. More importantly, the USA is watching. So he did give that support to that revolutionary movement there, saying, go ahead. We're watching your protests, and we're watching those who would massacre you for protesting, for wanting freedom from this kind of stuff. I thought it was interesting that the commander of the Revolutionary Guard, Hussein Salami, I'm sure he doesn't say Salami.
He looks like salami, actually. Last time we saw a picture of him.
Salami.
That's not an easy name to pronounce.
It's where you put the accent, because it is
Soleimani.
No, it's spelled Salami, just like we spell salami. He said Sunday, he said he was more upset than anyone over the shooting down of the plane, but other officials accused the U.S. and its allies of exploiting the tragedy. Iran's enemies want to take revenge on the Guard for a military mistake, said Ali Shirazi, a representative of the Quds Force, the external arm of the Revolutionary Guard. So it's all our fault that they shot down their this commercial liner. And so I'm now wondering if there's a hotline for the talking points to Buttigieg's campaign, because that sounds just like Buttigieg, doesn't it?
Sure does.
But here's one for you. I knew you love this.
Well,
Rick.
Sharon, hold that,
Okay.
because you've got to take the break. We're trying to stick with the clock a little bit anyway.
All right.
And I don't want to cut you off in the middle, but let's take a break. And you are listening and watching the Conservative Commandos radio show with Sharon Angle and yours truly, Rick Trader. Today's show, like all our shows, is brought to you by the First Amendment, protected by the Second. Sharon and I will be right back.
Have you been leasing a property for your business or renting storage space? Are you tired of paying rent year after year? Call the experts at General Steel to own a building at up to 30% off now.
I'd been renting a building and paying someone else's mortgage, but General Steel showed me how I could own a space tailored to the needs of my business and for less than renting.
Call General Steel now at the number on your screen for our current building specials and to price your metal building system today.
My building's the dream I've had since finishing my house 14 years ago. I've been using it for a garage, workshop, and storage area for my tools and equipment, and I can't believe how great it turned out.
The economy is improving and the price of steel is expected to rise. Stop waiting. It could cost you thousands. Call General Steel now to see how you can own for less than you thought. Stop waiting to start your business or expand your operation. Call General Steel now.
Call 877-484-7002.
Everybody wants cheap airfare, but where do you find it? You call low-cost airlines. Their prices are direct from the airlines, and they're so low you can't find these fares published anywhere. They specialize in cheap flights, discount hotel rooms, cheap car rental rates, and great package deals anywhere around the world. Wherever you want to go, they can help you get there cheaply and with a best price guarantee. If you want the lowest prices on your airline tickets or other travel services, call now. That's right, call. That's the only way to get these rates. Experts are standing by 24/7 to get you the cheapest airfare and hotel rates available. So don't wait. Call right now for the lowest travel prices anywhere and for great last-minute travel deals too.
Call 888-431-0562. That's 888-431-0562. 888-431-0562. 888-431-0562.
Friend, do you remember when it felt good to withdraw your cash from the bank to expand a business, go on vacation, or buy a new car? Well, today, withdrawing your own cash has become a very risky business, according to The Secret War, a shocking new research report. I just read it. And folks, I was amazed to learn why banks are now required to spy on us for the government and then report any suspicious or unusual behavior. I suggest you get The Secret War free. Just call the number on the screen, no charge, from the folks at Swiss America, and get this. Did you know simply spending cash today may be enough to have you branded as a potential criminal? That's right. The new war on cash is really a war against all freedom-loving Americans. The Secret War is yours free, so call the number on the screen and you can tell them Pat Boone gave you the number.
AM/FM 24/7 Roku channel broadcasts all of our shows on demand. To ensure reliability, we store and stream our content on the same servers as Netflix and Amazon. Our Roku channel is free to use, and anyone owning one of the more than 10 million Roku devices can watch our channel at no cost whatsoever. If you have a television show or are thinking about producing a show, you can be a part of AM/FM 24/7's Roku channel. Watch our great shows on your Roku device. It's free and more reliable than cable TV. Are you stuck with a timeshare? Did you attend the presentation and were seduced and enticed into buying that great vacation and investment? Now you're in the terrible position of trying to figure out a way to get out of that mess. You're not alone. For over 15 years, BuyYourTimeshare.com has been helping people like yourself get out of timeshare ownership. The fact is there is no resale market. Unscrupulous telemarketers call you and say they have buyers waiting, and the next thing that happens is you give them hundreds of dollars for an ad and you'll never hear from them again. Another fact is that an identical timeshare to yours is being offered on eBay for $1, and no one is buying it. If you want out of your timeshare, I urge you to go to buyyourtimeshare.com or call them at 877-94-HELP-ME. That number again is 877-94-HELP-ME. Buyyourtimeshare.com. That's buyyourtimeshare.com. 877-94-HELP-ME.
Dish TV is better than cable TV. Here's why. Dish has the nation's lowest TV price, along with an award-winning DVR that can skip commercials, record 8 shows at once, and get access to thousands of movies at your fingertips. Cable simply can't even compare. So the smart choice is to cut the cable and get Dish. Plus, you get all these great TV features, free HD DVR upgrade, free installation, and free movie channels. Say goodbye to cable and get more with Dish TV. 877-290-7764, 877-290-7764. As an added bonus, you can switch to Dish now and receive a $50 Visa gift card. So call now and get Dish TV. Call 877-290-7764, 877-290-7764. That's 877-290-7764. Limited time offer, 24-month commitment and credit qualification required. Cancellation fee, monthly equipment fees, and other restrictions apply. Promotion can change at any time.
Welcome back. This is the Conservative Commandos radio show. I'm Rick Trader. My co-host is Sharron Angle, and the hallmark of our show is terrific guests. If you'd like to recommend someone, send an email to me, rick@conservativecommandosradioshow.com, rick@conservativecommandosradioshow.com, or maybe you yourself would like to be a guest. And Sharron, we once again, 3 great guests joining us once again today.
That's right. We have, first off, a longtime friend, Congressman Bob Barr, who represented Georgia's 7th District in the House of Representatives from 1995 to 2003, now practices law in Atlanta, Georgia, and is the chairman of Liberty Guard, a nonprofit pro-liberty organization. He also heads the Law Enforcement Education Foundation and a consulting firm, Liberty Strategies. We've asked him to come on and talk about an article he wrote, Democrats, Republicans Dismiss Bloomberg at Their Own Peril. So it'll be very interesting to hear why Michael Bloomberg has a chance against Donald Trump. Our second guest is Tyler O'Neill, who's the senior editor at PJ Media and conservative commentator. He's written for numerous publications, including the Christian Post, National Review, Washington Free Beacon, Daily Signal, AEI's Values and Capitalism, and the Colson Center's Breakpoint. He also enjoys Indian food, board games, and talking ceaselessly about politics, religion, and culture. Tyler has followed up on a story that we've been very interested in, and that is his article is Chick-fil-A CEO Regrets Inadvertently Discrediting Outstanding Groups Like the Salvation Army. And I'm interested. I know it's kind of a personal interest for you, Rick, and so it will be great to have Tyler come on and maybe shed some light on what happened there. Our last guest, and again another longtime friend, all 3 of our guests are this time, Michael Busler, who is a public policy analyst and a professor of finance at Stockton University, where he teaches undergraduate and graduate courses in finance and economics. He's written an op-ed column in major newspapers for more than 35 years, and he has written an article about Obama transforming America and Trump transforming it back. So we all remember that promise of Obama's that he was going to fundamentally transform America, and it seems that he has. But Michael Busler is going to tell us how Trump has changed it back and why we're benefiting from that. You know, it's always great to have Michael Busler on. He's a professor there at Stockton University, and we always get a good feel on the pulse of the next generation, if you will. Those those students of his that are the next generation coming up, I guess, of folks that we're a little bit concerned about their leadership and where they might be taking the country. And it's interesting that their professors are the ones that have really had a lot to do with how they think. But I have to say that some schools are finally taking note of these liberal professors that have gone just too far. And there's a professor at Babson College. His name is Sheen Fancy. I believe he is an Iranian, an American Iranian. He was born in this country. He points that out later on. But he tweeted out after the Facebook post that Donald Trump said that he would like Iran to stand down on this Soleimani thing, and if they didn't, he was prepared to strike 52 of their culture sites. And so this guy responded, and he said that he thought that that in response to the Soleimani being taken out, that Iran should target 52 American cultural sites and bomb them. So it was. He says it was humor, but this was after the fact. What happened was, of course, the FBI ascended, or the CIA, whoever takes up these threats, and says, wait a second, you can't be saying stuff like that. And they put him on leave of absence, paid leave of absence while they investigated. That was on Wednesday of last week. And the next day they said he was no longer employed at the university after they had taken a statement from him. They dismissed him. And he said he was very sorry for his sloppy humor, and that it was...
I guess he is. It cost him his job.
He said he condemns all acts of violence. And in fact, his full statement is, I regret my bad attempt at humor. As an American born and raised, I was trying to juxtapose our cultural sites with ancient Iranian churches and mosques. I am completely opposed to violence and would never advocate it by anyone. I am sorry that my sloppy humor was read as a threat. I condemn all acts of violence, he wrote in the Boston Herald. So
well,
here
Sharron,
we go.
You know, I've been accused of bad sense of humor many, many times. But I never went into with a movie theater and yelled fire. No one ever got hurt because, you know, there's a line, Sharron, there's a line that has to be drawn. And the fact that even if it was humor, I think it was an extremely bad sense of judgment this guy used. And if his judgment is that bad, he should not be in a classroom.
Well, let me read exactly what he wrote, and you see if it was funny. In retaliation, Ayatollah Khomeini should tweet a list of 52 sites of beloved American cultural heritage that he would bomb. Mall of America, Kardashian residence. So there you have it. There's that sense of humor, and we've said it many times here on Conservative Commando's radio show. The lefties really don't have a sense of humor until they get caught. They get caught in saying something that they really didn't mean, and then they say, "Oh, just kidding, just joking." But
Yeah, where's the punchline?
Right.
I'm still waiting for the punchline, Sharon.
Right. I think you got it, and it went right over your head, just like it went over the Secret Service's head when they went and hauled this guy in and said, "What are you doing?"
Yeah. Hey, Sharon, we got to go in a minute, but there's a little bit of news that came out the other day about Cory Booker.
Yeah. Well, I know he's your favorite person. Well, he's just a fellow New Jerseyite there. He says, "It is with a full heart that I share this news. I'm suspending my campaign for president. To my team supporters and everyone who gave me a shot, thank you. I'm so proud of what we built, and I feel nothing but faith in what we can accomplish together." So he comes just weeks before the caucuses, these early caucuses. So he's out. He says it was a difficult decision to make, but I've got in this race to win, and I always said I wouldn't continue if there was no longer a path to victory. Well, it's taken quite a while for him to recognize that, but the polls were showing he had no pathway to victory, I think, last summer, but whatever.
1%. So once again, he has a Spartacus moment. He fell on his sword. Yeah. Hey, Sharon, we got to take a break, and you are listening and watching the Conservative Commandos radio show. I'm Rick Trader. My co-host is Sharron Engel. And on the other side, we're going to be speaking with former Congressman Bob Barr. He's written a very interesting article about Michael Bloomberg. Democrats, Republicans dismiss Bloomberg at their own peril. So don't you go away. We'll be right back.
Have you been leasing a property for your business or renting storage space? Are you tired of paying rent year after year? Call the experts at General Steel to own a building at up to 30% off now.
I'd been renting a building and paying someone else's mortgage, but General Steel showed me how I could own a space tailored to the needs of my business and for less than renting.
Call General Steel now at the number on your screen for our current building specials and to price your metal building system today.
My building's the dream I've had since finishing my house 14 years ago. I've been using it for a garage, workshop, and storage area for my tools and equipment, and I can't believe how great it turned out.
The economy is improving, and the price of steel is expected to rise. Stop waiting. It could cost you thousands. Call General Steel now to see how you can own for less than you thought. Stop waiting to start your business or expand your operation. Call General Steel now.
Call 877-484-7002.
Everybody wants cheap airfare, but where do you find it? You call low-cost airlines. Their prices are direct from the airlines, and they're so low you can't find these fares published anywhere. They specialize in cheap flights, discount hotel rooms, cheap car rental rates, and great package deals anywhere around the world. Wherever you want to go, they can help you get there cheaply and with a best price guarantee. If you want the lowest prices on your airline tickets or other travel services, call now. That's right, call. That's the only way to get these rates. Experts are standing by 24/7 to get you the cheapest airfare and hotel rates available. So don't wait. Call right now for the lowest travel prices anywhere and for great last-minute travel deals too.
Call 888-431-0562. That's 888-431-0562. 888-431-0562. 888-431-0562.
Friend, do you remember when it felt good to withdraw your cash from the bank to expand a business, go on vacation, or buy a new car? Well, today, withdrawing your own cash has become a very risky business, according to The Secret War, a shocking new research report. I just read it. And folks, I was amazed to learn why banks are now required to spy on us for the government and then report any suspicious or unusual behavior. I suggest you get The Secret War free. Just call the number on the screen, no charge, from the folks at Swiss America. And get this, did you know simply spending cash today may be enough to have you branded as a potential criminal? That's right. The new war on cash is really a war against all freedom-loving Americans. The Secret War is yours free, so call the number on the screen and you can tell them Pat Boone gave you the number.
And once again, we want to welcome you back. This is the Conservative Commandos radio show with Sharron Engel and yours truly, Rick Trader. For rebroadcast, best place to go is our website, ccrshow.com. That's ccrshow.com. Like us, friend us, and follow us on Facebook and on Twitter. And Sharron, our next guest is with us, and the honor of that introduction is all yours.
Well, it's always an honor and a pleasure to introduce our longtime friend, Congressman Bob Barr, who represented Georgia's 7th District in the House of Representatives from 1995 to 2003. He now practices law in Atlanta, Georgia, and is the chairman of Liberty Guard, a nonprofit pro-liberty organization. He also heads the Law Enforcement Education Foundation and consulting firm Liberty Strategies. Congressman Barr, welcome back to the Conservative Commandos radio show.
Thank you. I always look forward to being with you because we talk about such very timely and interesting topics, and it always is a pleasure to be with you all personally.
Well, the reason we talk about those timely and interesting topics is because you write about them first, and we just follow you, and we hope that our listeners follow you as well, because you do write about timely and interesting topics. And in fact, that's why we've asked you to come on, because you've written one, Republicans dismiss Bloomberg at their own peril. Now, we understand Mayor Michael Bloomberg. He's saying now that he's going to run for president. It seems like it's just me too on that side of the aisle. Why should we be too concerned about Michael Bloomberg?
Well, thank you. I would be concerned and am concerned about Michael Bloomberg, not because of his ideas. I mean, as an NRA board member, for example, he and I are not going to be on the same wavelength on liberty issues, constitutional issues, the Bill of Rights, and so forth. But he is a formidable opponent on the Democrat side, and he would be, I think, a very formidable opponent to President Trump, although I do think that President Trump, unless something completely unforeseen happens, will be reelected regardless of who the Democrats put forward as their nominee. But Mike Bloomberg is a formidable opponent for a number of reasons. One, he is extremely wealthy. He's one of the 10 richest men in the entire world. And unlike a lot of rich people, he has indicated and has already put a lot of his own money, more than a couple of $100 million already into his race. Thirdly, he has very, very high name ID, so he does not need to buy name ID. He needs certainly to explain to voters why he's running. Fourth, he is an extremely smart man. He is a self-made billionaire, unlike a lot of people on the Forbes list of billionaires who inherited their wealth. And there's nothing wrong with that, but he is a self-made billionaire. And also, he has run before, so he's a well-known commodity. One thing that is very interesting about him, in addition to the fact that he has made his name primarily on having been mayor of New York for 3 terms and his anti-gun efforts, which have been going on for decades as well, is that he has no compunction about switching his positions. I mean, after all, as you know, he ran in one election to New York's mayoral position as a Republican, a Democrat, and an independent. So he clearly can shift his position, shift his allegiance very easily, and that does make him a more difficult opponent to pin down.
Exactly. Well, you know, I think that John Kerry lost an election, a presidential election, primarily because he was a flip-flopper. So that you don't think that's going to hold a whole lot of water, or do you think that's his Achilles heel?
Things are very different now from when Kerry ran back in, 2004 or whenever he ran. It was a very different world back then. You're absolutely correct, Sharron. John Kerry was hit with the moniker of being a flip-flopper because of his position on the Iraqi war, and that really killed him. He just couldn't shake that notion. It's very different nowadays. people, I think, are on the one hand are willing to accept the fact that political figures may change their position over time. I mean, President Trump has done that. So shifting positions is not really that that much of a problem anymore. Plus the fact people switch parties more nowadays. So I don't see those as the Achilles heel that they would have been 2, 3, 4 cycles ago.
Well, and as you pointed out, that's partly Trump's problem too, is that he's been able to switch parties, and so there's not much to hit him on if your guy's doing the same thing. And that brings us to this wealth issue. Trump inherited his wealth. He's built upon his inheritance, but Bloomberg kind of has a leg up, being a self-made man, if you will, doesn't he?
He does, and the fact that his wealth is from a very legitimate source. I mean, he began his career back in 1980 or thereabouts with a financial firm, one of the very well-known financial firms, Salomon Brothers. He worked his way up there, sort of made his chops, so to speak, in the financial arena. But then he went off on his own and saw the importance of bringing financial information and technology together on a global basis, and started Bloomberg, financial news and so forth. I'm not sure of all of the names, but I mean, that is a very well-known and well-respected commodity in the financial arena, not just here in the U.S., but around the world. So that gives him, I think, a great deal of credibility, not to take anything away from Mr. Trump, who has had significant success in finances, particularly in real estate and development. But Bloomberg starts out with a very, very solid reputation in the financial area that I think will do him well, and that also makes him a very strong candidate.
Yes, it does. And so we've talked about they're even on the flip-flop question. They're even on the wealth question. They're even on the New York question. The place where there seems to be a difference is, you write that Bloomberg is a creature of the city, but here again, he's not a humorless public persona. He presents, though, a more restrained and measured public speaker. So the people who, even on Trump's side, say, I don't like his rhetoric, might be drawn to Bloomberg just because he doesn't have that persona that Trump does, that bombastic speech that he has in the tweeting and all of that. Do you think that might be the deciding factor, that we'll get down to issues and personality here?
It's hard to say. That's certainly his sort of more almost pedantic way he presents himself, much more formalistic than Mr. Trump, will appeal to some people. It certainly will appeal to Democrats who will vote for anybody but Trump. They have this visceral hatred for Trump, which blinds them to a lot of substantive issues even. But I think that Bloomberg will present himself well in debates. I don't know if he's going to be in any of the primary debates. He is not scheduled to be so far. He's made a very calculated decision not to worry about the early caucus states, but to put all of his eggs, so to speak, in the Super Tuesday basket on March 3rd. And that's where dozens, I think hundreds of delegates are going to be chosen on March 3rd alone. He is buying up significant airtime and social media time. So we'll know pretty much by the close of voting on Super Tuesday, March 3rd, whether he will remain a viable candidate by and large, I think.
Well, and certainly having served 3 terms, he's probably got more savvy as far as political savvy goes than Trump does. He kind of knows his way around politics. And I don't know. I guess that Trump is really going to have to lean heavily on his record. on the issues. And maybe we will finally have an issues debate if Bloomberg gets in the race. What do you think about that?
I think Trump has two things that he will run on and that will do him very well. One is the economy, the performance of the economy, and second is the fact that unlike Bloomberg, Trump speaks to middle America, middle-class America, and their issues. Bloomberg, for all of his intelligence and wealth, I don't think will come across well to middle America.
We are talking to Congressman Bob Barr, who represented the 7th District in the House of Representatives and now is the chairman of Liberty Guard. We've been talking about an article he wrote, Democrats, Republicans Dismiss Bloomberg at Their Own Peril. And we're coming to you from the Conservative Commandos Radio Network studios and around the world on the internet with TalkStream Live, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, American Political Radio, Leading Edge Radio Network, and AM/FM 24/7. You can also watch us on the AUN TV network in Northern California. I'm Sharron Angle. I'm here with my co-host Rick Trader, and we'll be right back.
AM/FM 24/7 Roku channel broadcasts all of our shows on demand. To ensure reliability, we store and stream our content on the same servers as Netflix and Amazon. Our Roku channel is free to use, and anyone owning one of the more than 10 million Roku devices can watch our channel at no cost whatsoever. If you have a television show or are thinking about producing a show, you can be a part of AM/FM 24/7's Roku channel. Watch our great shows on your Roku device. It's free and more reliable than cable TV. Are you stuck with a timeshare? Did you attend the presentation and were seduced and enticed into buying that great vacation and investment? Now you're in the terrible position of trying to figure out a way to get out of that mess. You're not alone. For over 15 years, BuyYourTimeshare.com has been helping people like yourself get out of timeshare ownership. The fact is there is no resale market. Unscrupulous telemarketers call you and say they have buyers waiting, and the next thing that happens is you give them hundreds of dollars for an ad, and you'll never hear from them again. Another fact is that an identical timeshare to yours is being offered on eBay for $1, and no one is buying it. If you want out of your timeshare, I urge you to go to buyyourtimeshare.com or call them at 877-94-HELP-ME. That number again is 877-94-HELP-ME. BuyYourTimeshare.com. That's BuyYourTimeshare.com. 877-94-HELP-ME.
Dish TV is better than cable TV. Here's why. Dish has the nation's lowest TV price, along with an award-winning DVR that can skip commercials, record 8 shows at once, and get access to thousands of movies at your fingertips. Cable simply can't even compare. So the smart choice is to cut the cable and get Dish. Plus, you get all these great TV features, free HD DVR upgrade, free installation, and free movie channels. Say goodbye to cable and get more with Dish TV. 877-290-7764, 877-290-7764. As an added bonus, you can switch to Dish now and receive a $50 Visa gift card. So call now and get Dish TV. Call 877-290-7764, 877-290-7764. That's 877-290-7764. Limited time offer, 24-month commitment and credit qualification required. Cancellation fee, monthly equipment fees, and other restrictions apply. Promotion can change at any time.
Thank you for staying with us. This is the Conservative Commandos radio show. I'm Rick Trader. My co-host is Sharron Angle. And we want to give a shout out to folks who listen to us on radio stations in Jacksonville, Tampa, and the Villages, Florida, Las Vegas and Reno, Macon, Georgia, Lancaster and Pittsburgh, Boulder and Colorado Springs, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, Long Beach, California, Arlington, Virginia, Washington, D.C., and also seen on the AUN television network. Our guest this segment is Congressman Bob Barr. He represented Georgia's 7th Congressional District in the House of Representatives. He's now the chairman of Liberty Guard, a nonprofit pro-liberty organization. He also heads up the Law Enforcement Education Foundation and a consulting firm, Liberty Strategies. Congressman, thank you for holding through that break. We always appreciate your time.
Likewise, back at you.
Congressman, sitting in my living room right outside of Philadelphia. We're seeing a lot of commercials for Michael Bloomberg. And what I'm struck by is a couple of things. Number one, it's not Michael Bloomberg, it's Mike. It's Mike, okay? But when I look at this guy, even though he is a self-made man, I look at him as an elite. Am I wrong in that perception, or do you think America, a lot of Americans, is going to see him as that? And also, do you think that if he starts to gain traction in the polls, in the Democrat polls, he's going to be attacked by the socialists like Warren and Sanders because of his wealth?
It's a very, very interesting sort of dichotomy that we have here. President Trump, of course, is a billionaire himself. I mean, he's a very wealthy man. Made his business not so much in the financial arena as Bloomberg did, but more in real estate development in New York and elsewhere. But Trump, I think, was able to overcome that, if there is a stigma to being very, very wealthy, because Trump speaks the common man's language. He speaks from his heart, from his gut. It's not polished. It's very clear that when Trump is talking at his rallies, he's talking to and with his audience. They understand him. He's one of them. He comes across as one of them. Mike Bloomberg, you're right. He doesn't say Michael. His website, all of his campaign stuff is just Mike Bloomberg. I think that's going to be a problem for him, even though I'm sure his consultants are telling him to, smile, crack a smile, tell a joke every now and then. It's just not his style. Maybe he can come across as every man, but I don't think so. I think that will be a contrast between Trump's ability to relate to middle America and the middle class Americans and Bloomberg's, Mike's, if he is the Democrat nominee. I think he will be at a disadvantage. He will appeal to the Democratic establishment, certainly. They like him because he is wealthy, because he has the financial ability and the savvy in the financial and technological arenas. But I don't see him being able to change his persona to come across the way Trump does to middle America.
Congressman, in your article, you write his long-running campaign against gun violence, and he's also back with generous grants to other mayors and to grassroots organizations across the country. These IOUs can be called in now. Again, sitting outside of Philadelphia, one of the people who's endorsing him is Michael Nutter, not Mike Nutter, but Michael Nutter, former mayor of Philadelphia, and you've kind of answered a question for me. Why is Michael Nutter all of a sudden getting on the Michael Bloomberg bandwagon? But the idea of the IOUs that he has out there, that makes sense that Nutter is backing him now. But could talk about other IOUs out there. I mean, how extensive is this his IOU network?
With Bloomberg, it's very extensive, and it has been primarily through his anti-gun effort. Every Town for Gun Safety, Mayors Against Gun Violence, his work with Mothers Against Guns. All of these organizations he has set up, and they have run themselves through money that he provides to them. And he also, particularly through his Mayors Against Gun Violence group, has put a lot of his own money into helping other mayors who share his anti-gun, pro-gun control philosophy and agenda. He's given them millions and millions of dollars over the years, and those can be some pretty timely and perhaps very hefty IOUs that he can now call in.
Congressman, again, thinking of Michael Bloomberg, I won't call him Mike. I've always known him as Michael. But when we come to Michael Bloomberg, three things come through my mind. Number one, mayor of New York City. I think he took over New York City at a very good time after Mayor Giuliani really cleaned the place up, really made it safe right after 9/11. That's number one. Number two, his ban on big sodas, the big gulp, and also his ban on plastic straws. In addition to his dislike of the NRA, if you were running against him, what would you hit him with?
I would certainly focus on the firearms issue. There are, I believe, and I would be very sad if I'm very disappointed if I'm contradicted on this during the coming election. I believe that there are far more Americans who support our Bill of Rights and who support the God-given right to keep and bear arms and to defend oneself, one's family, and one's property than who accept or endorse the Mike Bloomberg notion that only people that the government thinks should be able to possess a firearm can do so. If you go down the list of all of the dozen or so major gun control proposals that have been floated and implemented over the last 25 years since Dianne Feinstein's gun control bill back in 1994, Bloomberg supports all of them, including, for example, every single gun sale, even if it is between relatives or friends, has to go through a government-sanctioned background check. Every single one. He would mandate by federal law these red flag laws, which have very serious constitutional and civil liberties issues. So that would be the first issue that I would hammer him on. Is this is a man who does not believe in our Bill of Rights, not just the Second Amendment, but the Fourth Amendment as well, the Sixth Amendment, right to counsel, and you can go down the line. I think it also is worthwhile talking about him in terms of the flip-flopping that he has done, not so much on individual issues, that goes on a lot nowadays, but the fact that this is a man who has absolutely no loyalty to anybody. He is.
Can you say no conviction? Can you also add in that when you say no loyalty, hey, how about no conviction?
No conviction on any principled issues except, of course, his aversion to the Bill of Rights. He has deep conviction on that. But I think there is a difference, and if I were running against him, I would hit this, between changing one's position based on changed circumstances and learning more about an issue, and simply changing because the political winds have shifted. For example, one of the things that Mayor Bloomberg did when he was mayor of New York is he did follow through on some of Rudy Giuliani's anti-crime programs that provided more authority for police to stop gatherings of youth in high crimes areas and asking, what are you doing gathering in this area where there's been a lot of crime, for example. He now is disavowing that because he's running in the 2020 Democratic Party, which is anti-law enforcement. So that sort of shift for purely temporal political reasons, I think, is a weakness that I would hit him on.
Congressman Bob Barr, again, we want to thank you so much for joining us here on the Conservative Commandos radio show. You're always so generous with your time. Will you please tell our audience how they could read your articles, follow your work, and also find out more about Liberty Guard and the Law Enforcement Education Foundation?
Well, thank you. And let me again say how much of a pleasure it always is to be with you all. Your listeners and viewers can go to my website, bobbarr.org, and find links to the work, the articles that I write for the Daily Caller and townhall.com. They also certainly can go to Law EEF, which is the Law Enforcement Education Foundation that supports law enforcement across this country, or certainly Liberty Guard. Through any of those means, they can find out what Bob Barr is up to and what I'm writing about and so forth. So thank you for the opportunity to let people know that.
Absolutely. We're all on the same side. What's good for the goose is good for the gander. What we're doing, you're doing, so we support you in your efforts also. Thank you so much for joining us. Take care and God bless.
Thank you, Rick. Thank you, Sharron.
And on the other side, we're going to be speaking with Tyler O'Neill. He's the senior editor at PJ Media. He's written a very interesting article. Chick-fil-A CEO regrets discrediting Christian groups like the Salvation Army. Don't go away. We'll be right back right after this break with our next guest, Tyler O'Neill.
Have you been leasing a property for your business or renting storage space? Are you tired of paying rent year after year? Call the experts at General Steel to own a building at up to 30% off now.
I'd been renting a building and paying someone else's mortgage, but General Steel showed me how I could own a space tailored to the needs of my business and for less than renting.
Call General Steel now at the number on your screen for our current building specials and to price your metal building system today.
My building's the dream I've had since finishing my house 14 years ago. I've been using it for a garage, workshop, and storage area for my tools and equipment, and I can't believe how great it turned out.
The economy is improving and the price of steel is expected to rise. Stop waiting. It could cost you thousands. Call General Steel now to see how you can own for less than you thought. Stop waiting to start your business or expand your operation. Call General Steel now.
Call 877-484-7002.
Everybody wants cheap airfare, but where do you find it? You call low-cost airlines. Their prices are direct from the airlines, and they're so low you can't find these fares published anywhere. They specialize in cheap flights, discount hotel rooms, cheap car rental rates, and great package deals anywhere around the world. Wherever you want to go, they can help you get there cheaply and with a best price guarantee. If you want the lowest prices on your airline tickets or other travel services, call now. That's right, call. That's the only way to get these rates. Experts are standing by 24/7 to get you the cheapest airfare and hotel rates available. So don't wait. Call right now for the lowest travel prices anywhere and for great last-minute travel deals too.
Call 888-431-0562. That's 888-431-0562. 888-431-0562. 888-431-0562.
Friend, do you remember when it felt good to withdraw your cash from the bank to expand a business, go on vacation, or buy a new car? Well, today, withdrawing your own cash has become a very risky business, according to The Secret War, a shocking new research report. I just read it. And folks, I was amazed to learn why banks are now required to spy on us for the government and then report any suspicious or unusual behavior. I suggest you get The Secret War free. Just call the number on the screen, no charge, from the folks at Swiss America. And get this, did you know simply spending cash today may be enough to have you branded as a potential criminal? That's right. The new war on cash is really a war against all freedom-loving Americans. The Secret War is yours free, so call the number on the screen and you can tell them Pat Boone gave you the number.
Dish TV is better than cable TV. Here's why. Dish has the nation's lowest TV price, along with an award-winning DVR that can skip commercials, record 8 shows at once, and get access to thousands of movies at your fingertips. Cable simply can't even compare. So the smart choice is to cut the cable and get Dish. Plus, you get all these great TV features, free HD DVR upgrade, free installation, and free movie channels. Say goodbye to cable and get more with Dish TV. 877-290-7764, 877-290-7764. As an added bonus, you can switch to Dish now and receive a $50 Visa gift card. So call now and get Dish TV. Call 877-290-7764, 877-290-7764. That's 877-290-7764. Limited time offer, 24-month commitment and credit qualification required. Cancellation fee, monthly equipment fees, and other restrictions apply. Promotion can change at any time.
And once again, we want to thank you for staying with us. This is the Conservative Commandos radio show. I'm Rick Trader. My co-host is Sharron Angle. And for rebroadcast, check out our website, ccrshow.com. That's ccrshow.com. You'll find our radio podcast there, our TV podcast, as well as a lot of other terrific articles and great information. And Sharron Angle, our next guest, is with us. And as you do with all our guests, Please make him feel welcome.
Well, it's always a pleasure and an honor to introduce our longtime friend Tyler O'Neill, who is senior editor at PJ Media and a conservative commentator. He's written for numerous publications, including the Christian Post, National Review, and the Washington Free Beacon, the Daily Signal, AEI's Values in Capitalism, and the Colson Center's Breakpoint. He enjoys Indian food, board games, and talking ceaselessly about politics, religion, and culture. Tyler, welcome back to the Conservative Commandos radio show.
Hey, my pleasure. Good to be here.
Well, it's always good to have you. And you have written an article about Chick-fil-A. I know many of us were disillusioned, and we're wanting you to say it isn't so. So we're going to give you a chance to help us out with what happened here. Chick-fil-A CEO regrets inadvertently discrediting outstanding groups like the Salvation Army. So when this is, we were kind of thinking, well, maybe Dan Cathy had given the Chick-fil-A business over to someone else, and so that was what was going on. But he's the one that actually came out and made this statement that this was a mistake. Is that correct?
Yes. So this is a very interesting turn, and honestly, I think there has been a lot of misunderstanding and miscommunication when it comes to this change in Chick-fil-A's charitable giving strategy. It remains possible that they decided to stop funding the Salvation Army and the Fellowship of Christian Athletes, in part because of the LGBT, the bullies really on the left, who have been pushing them to drop these Christian groups because they're quote unquote anti-gay. The fact of the matter is, Dan Cathy came out with a letter, and this is a letter he sent last month, which only really was drawn to national attention when the American Family Association published it. But he said, "Look, I'm sorry, we inadvertently discredited the Salvation Army and the Fellowship of Christian Athletes." And this is an important statement, because we know, we've been following, for crying out loud, Pete Buttigieg has stood out and raised money for the Salvation Army. And the Salvation Army actually has a history of serving LGBT people in Britain back during the AIDS scare, when everybody, they didn't know what AIDS was, and everybody thought, oh, we're going to get this disease and die if we help people. Well, Christianity has since the beginning been the faith that inspires people to go out and help the sick and the poor, even when it comes at great personal risk. One of the reasons Christianity spread so fast in the first few centuries of the church was because we served those who were sick. And everybody else thought, oh, they're sick, we're going to die if we serve them. And the Salvation Army and the early Christians served them anyway, unlike the Romans, and that helped grow the faith back then. But the Salvation Army helped serve the LGBT. They weren't considered the LGBT community back then, but they served them because they recognized their human dignity. And so in this case, Chick-fil-A coming out and vouching for this organization that the LGBT bullies have demonized is important. It speaks volumes and pushes back against a lot of the misunderstanding and a lot of the animus that these great upstanding Christian groups have faced in recent years.
So he didn't actually say we're going to fund the Salvation Army and Christian Athletes.
Right.
He just said we didn't mean to disparage them when we cut the funding. So this is kind of a halfway move, isn't it? I don't see it as a real inadvertent, I'm sorry, this happened by mistake.
Yeah, so that's another interesting element to all this. Chick-fil-A has consistently said, and I'm not sure how much of this is true, they've consistently said, we decided to make our funding simpler. We decided to fund 3 organizations every year instead of hundreds. And that might make sense, especially given the right pushback they received from recent news that they had funded the Southern Poverty Law Center one year. And the more that we heard about that, it sounds like one somewhat rogue volunteer was able to get the Chick-fil-A Foundation to fund this horrifically, now especially discredited group, but an organization that inspired a terrorist attack that involved putting Chick-fil-A sandwiches by the heads of people that this guy intended to kill. Chick-fil-A should never have allowed that funding to happen. And I've actually reached out, and hopefully we'll get an answer, because I have some connections at Chick-fil-A, and I really want them to come forward with a statement. A year, actually maybe 2 years ago now, I got Facebook to come out and say, look, we don't think these organizations that the SPLC says are hate groups are actually hate groups. Facebook does not consider the Family Research Council, Alliance Defending Freedom, or any of these groups to be hate groups, whatever the Southern Poverty Law Center says. So I think if we can get Chick-fil-A to make a similar statement, and I don't know if they will, I've asked them, but I think that would help solve people's just concerns on this kind of issue. Because I hate to see Chick-fil-A, but of course, another important aspect of this is that Chick-fil-A has not always been the strong, stalwart ally that we tend to think of it as. They're very much a business, and they do, they have great service. They're founded on Christian values. They give, they make tasty food. But in the first instance, in the 2012 scandal, they dropped a lot of the organizations that they had been funding previously after the LGBT bullies first made their attack. So given that history, it stands to reason that maybe one of the reasons they dropped the Salvation Army and the Fellowship of Christian Athletes was because of this push. So there's no fully clear answer on this. And I'd love to defend them and come out and say that we critics were wrong, but I haven't seen enough from them to fully vouch for them, if that makes sense.
Well, and certainly Governor Huckabee, he was the one that led the fight to support Chick-fil-A, and then he said, I regret that. So maybe he has some information that we don't have, or has he come out and said, oh, sorry, Dan, we're good. Let's continue on with our relationship. So have you seen anything from Mike Huckabee on this?
I haven't. That's actually, I intend to reach out and check with him. It's the situation is still, developing, and I really hope that Chick-fil-A makes another statement or another stance on this to confirm where they are. But sadly, they're a business first, and I think they went into damage control mode, and it's a real tragedy that we're not seeing. This statement was positive. I will very much defend it, but I'd like to see more. I think the supporters of Chick-fil-A and Mike Huckabee, everyone deserves to hear more about what Chick-fil-A intends to do. And given the history of them giving this donation to the SPLC, which they've explained, I think, satisfactorily, that it was the decision of one person and doesn't represent the entire company. But it still unsettles us, and it should unsettle us, that the company would allow this to be gone through. So.
Well, I know there's one quote here that I thought I would like to just requote. This is Dan Cathy saying that the Chick-fil-A corporate purpose is to glorify God by being a faithful steward of all that is entrusted to us, to have a positive influence on all who come in contact with Chick-fil-A. The CEO acknowledged that some also questioned if our commitment to our corporate purpose was waning. Let me say unequivocally, it is not. So he's reinforcing their purpose, but I don't know. Is that I don't know how to interpret that. So would you interpret that?
Yeah, so I think Dan Cathy saw the backlash that Chick-fil-A received from this funding change. I think he rightly interpreted that as important and something that needed to be responded to. And he decided to respond to it by giving a somewhat apology and another explanation and, saying that their commitment has not waned. But it's a difficult thing because I don't. The proof is in the pudding, and this looks more like damage control than like a fully
making a good recipe.
Yeah.
We've been talking with Tyler O'Neill of PJ Media. He's the senior editor there and a conservative commentator. He's written an article, Chick-fil-A Regrets, inadvertently discrediting outstanding groups like the Salvation Army. We are coming to you from the Conservative Commandos Radio Network studios and around the world on the internet with TalkStream Live, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, American Political Radio, Leading Edge Radio Network, and AM/FM 24/7. We can also be seen on the AUN TV network in San Francisco, San Rafael, Marin, North Bay, San Jose, Silicon Valley, Santa Rosa, Wine Country, Redding, Sacramento. In other words, Pelosi country. I'm Sharron Angle. I'm here with my co-host Rick Trader, and we'll be right back with Tyler O'Neill.
AM/FM 24/7 Roku channel broadcasts all of our shows on demand. To ensure reliability, we store and stream our content on the same servers as Netflix and Amazon. Our Roku channel is free to use, and anyone owning one of the more than 10 million Roku devices can watch our channel at no cost whatsoever. If you have a television show or are thinking about producing a show, you can be a part of AM/FM 24/7's Roku channel. Watch our great shows on your Roku device. It's free and more reliable than cable TV. Are you stuck with a timeshare? Did you attend the presentation and were seduced and enticed into buying that great vacation and investment? Now you're in the terrible position of trying to figure out a way to get out of that mess. You're not alone. For over 15 years, BuyYourTimeshare.com has been helping people like yourself get out of timeshare ownership. The fact is there is no resale market. Unscrupulous telemarketers call you and say they have buyers waiting, and the next thing that happens is you give them hundreds of dollars for an ad, and you'll never hear from them again. Another fact is that an identical timeshare to yours is being offered on eBay for $1, and no one is buying it. If you want out of your timeshare, I urge you to go to BuyYourTimeshare.com or call them at 877-94-HELP-ME. That number again is 877-94-HELP-ME. BuyYourTimeshare.com. That's BuyYourTimeshare.com. 877-94-HELP-ME.
Dish TV is better than cable TV. Here's why. Dish has the nation's lowest TV price, along with an award-winning DVR that can skip commercials, record 8 shows at once, and get access to thousands of movies at your fingertips. Cable simply can't even compare. So the smart choice is to cut the cable and get Dish. Plus, you get all these great TV features, free HD DVR upgrade, free installation, and free movie channels. Say goodbye to cable and get more with Dish TV. 877-290-7764, 877-290-7764. As an added bonus, you can switch to Dish now and receive a $50 Visa gift card. So call now and get Dish TV. Call 877-290-7764, 877-290-7764. That's 877-290-7764. Limited time offer, 24-month commitment and credit qualification required. Cancellation fee, monthly equipment fees, and other restrictions apply. Promotion can change at any time.
And welcome back. Welcome back to the Conservative Commandos radio show. My co-host today is Sharron Angle. I'm Rick Trader, and For rebroadcast, check out our website, ccrshow.com. That's ccrshow.com. Like us, friend us, and follow us on Facebook and on Twitter. Our guest this segment is Tyler O'Neill. He's a senior editor at PJ Media, conservative commentator, and he's an author of a new book coming out soon. And maybe at the end of the interview, Tyler can tell us a little bit about his book. But he's written an interesting article. Chick-fil-A CEO regrets inadvertently discrediting outstanding groups like the Salvation Army. Tyler, thank you for holding through that break. We appreciate your time.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Well, Tyler, when it comes to Chick-fil-A, I, like a lot of others, was deeply, deeply disappointed by their actions. In 2012, when they were under attack by the LGBTQ groups, I went out and I bought about $50 worth of gift certificates and gave them away as little stocking stuffer gifts, simply to support this company. I would go out of my way to eat there as often as I could. We're big supporters of them because of their stance on social issues, like the sanctity of marriage between a man and a woman, and also the fact that they are seemingly a Christian organization by not opening on Sunday. But after this this blow up, I pulled away from them. And what I did is that I made donations. I sent checks to the Salvation Army and the Fellowship of Christian Athletes. I used the money that I would have spent at Chick-fil-A. I hadn't been back there since this brush up happened. About a week ago, I did stop. And that's because my little 4-year-old niece wanted to go to Chick-fil-A. And as you're going to find out with your little girl, you don't say no to a 4-year-old girl. So we went to Chick-fil-A, and I noticed something very interesting. It was about half as busy as it usually was at a similar time of day. Similar day of the week, Tuesdays, when we had our little niece. I think that Chick-fil-A, this is my own personal opinion, I have no reason to back this up, but I just believe that Chick-fil-A is making this statement now because they're seeing their sales drop. Do you have any knowledge of their sales dropping since all this started happening?
No, that is so. From what I've seen, they haven't published that information, and of course, it's hard to get that information.
Right.
But your anecdote also, tracks with me and my family. We have not gone to Chick-fil-A recently after this as well. And the thing that really got me was when I'd heard that they donated to the Southern Poverty Law Center. Now, I don't think this current scandal is as damning as a lot of us at first thought. The more that I've looked into it, the more I've seen, I think Chick-fil-A does honestly want to transition to giving just a smaller number of groups. I think they do, there are some, like that person who gave to the SPLC who got them to do that was one volunteer. And ironically, the fact that they did that might show the wisdom of switching to a 3 or so group strategy.
Right.
However, the fact that they stopped funding the Salvation Army and the Fellowship of Christian Athletes right after they were kicked out of Britain over funding those groups really suggests that this was a cave as well as a business decision. And I have not seen evidence to push against that view. So I think it's still a scandal, and it's still something we should consider.
Well, Tyler, the CEO of Chick-fil-A, I'm sure, doesn't manage every facet of the business. The definition of manager is to see things get done, not necessarily do them yourself. Chick-fil-A has a foundation. that these donations are made from. The executive director of that foundation is a guy by the name of Rodney D. Bullard. He's a former White House fellow, assistant U.S. attorney. And you don't mistake this guy for any conservative because he was a donator to Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton. Now, let's connect the dots here, Tyler. This is a guy that I would think probably okays these donations, maybe even has a sway in the direction or philosophy of this foundation. Do you know anything more about Rodney Bullard?
He did not. I have not looked into Rodney Bullard as of yet.
Right.
It does, and this is something that I think corporate America needs to think about when they choose to have these very skewed, these very skewed managers. That really sends a message. And in this case, I don't know. I think Chick-fil-A might have been thinking, let's have some rapprochement with these LGBT people. Let's see if we can get them to trust us a little bit more. And the fact of the matter is, a lot of LGBT people did go to Chick-fil-A anyway because they like the food. Like, there are these groups that are loud and are saying, we can't be seen with anybody who gives to the Salvation Army because that's some horrible group or whatever. But
you mean like Pete Buttigieg?
Oh, Pete Buttigieg.
He can't be confused with any kind of a conservative either. Tyler, I do believe that we conservatives need to protect our way of life. There's a very interesting ad. In fact, we're running it here on Conservative Commandos on our TV stations called Remember. It's about 2 minutes long. I invite our listeners and people who listen to us on our radio stations to check out our website, ccrshow.com. You'll be able to see this commercial. But do you remember when, Tyler, it was all about living and let live, let people love who they want to love and be with who they want to be with. But now that's replaced by the militants of this LGBTQ crowd who want to take their lifestyle, shove it down our throats. Maybe I shouldn't use those words, but they want to shove it down our throats and replace our normal lifestyles and behaviors with what their abnormal lifestyles and behaviors are. And that when Chick-fil-A, when it was exposed that Chick-fil-A had stopped donating to the Salvation Army and the Fellowship of Christian Athletes, they were praised by the LGBT community. Like, look at the success and major win that we had over family values. Am I thinking too far outside the box here?
So, no. It's one of the interesting things about the modern LGBT movement is that it's fracturing to some degree. There are, and I've covered this a lot. There are lesbian feminists who, that I disagree with them on pretty much everything, but at least they understand that a man is a man and a woman is a woman. And if you have men who pretend to be women and they go into women's bathrooms and women's prisons and these situations, that it's dangerous for the women. And maybe there's a little bit of understanding that's starting to build up that, I think there are segments of the LGBT movement that are starting to realize how far the activists have been going. And I'm really hoping that some of them will wake up and understand that religious freedom is important. And you're entirely right. We have right now in this country a lot of activists and a lot of Democrats.
No, I think we're at war.
be on that
Frankly,
stage
we are
now.
at war. We are at war to preserve our lifestyles, behaviors, and beliefs. And it's amazing to me that they want us to forget the thousands of years of teaching and wisdom going back to the Bible, going back to the days of Moses and Jesus. They want to replace these thousands of years of teaching and wisdom with, frankly, what they want to do with their sexual body parts. We're supposed to forget what we've been taught. We're supposed to forget what we believe in. Why? So they can live and love who they want. Well, that's great. But when they say to us, what you believe is no longer valid, it's no longer any good, you're homophobe, you're racist, you're sexist, you're all these other things. That's
well, they want
perhaps
us
to
to
get too
fund
far.
it too. They want
Hey,
us to
Tyler,
fund.
we're coming
Yeah.
up on a hard break, and I wanted to give you an opportunity to tell us a little bit about the book you got coming out.
Yeah, so there's a soft launch tomorrow, and then we're gonna go broad in the next few weeks. The book is called Making Hate Pay: The Corruption of the Southern Poverty Law Center. And I delve into the story of why the SPLC had its racism, its sexism scandal, how it became a really wealthy organization despite having poverty in the name, and how it demonized conservatives and Christians and even Muslims who fight against terrorism. It's demonized all sorts of people who disagree with its far left agenda. And this book explains where it comes from and, most importantly, who's fighting back. So do check it out in the next few weeks. I have a website, makinghatepay.com. There'll also be links on PJ Media where you can find the book on Amazon.
Tyler O'Neill, we want to thank you so much for joining us. Take care and God bless.
My pleasure. Thank you so much.
Next on the Conservative Commandos radio show, we'll be talking with Dr. Michael Busler. He's a professor of finance at Stockton University. He's written in a very interesting article, Obama's fundamentally transformed America. Trump is fundamentally transforming it back. Don't go away. We'll be right back with our next guest.
Have you been leasing a property for your business or renting storage space? Are you tired of paying rent year after year? Call the experts at General Steel to own a building at up to 30% off now.
I'd been renting a building and paying someone else's mortgage, but General Steel showed me how I could own a space tailored to the needs of my business and for less than renting.
Call General Steel now at the number on your screen for our current building specials and to price your metal building system today.
My building's the dream I've had since finishing my house 14 years ago. I've been using it for a garage, workshop, and storage area for my tools and equipment, and I can't believe how great it turned out.
The economy is improving and the price of steel is expected to rise. Stop waiting. It could cost you thousands. Call General Steel now to see how you can own for less than you thought. Stop waiting to start your business or expand your operation. Call General Steel now.
Call 877-484-7002.
Everybody wants cheap airfare, but where do you find it? You call low-cost airlines. Their prices are direct from the airlines, and they're so low you can't find these fares published anywhere. They specialize in cheap flights, discount hotel rooms, cheap car rental rates, and great package deals anywhere around the world. Wherever you want to go, they can help you get there cheaply and with a best price guarantee. If you want the lowest prices on your airline tickets or other travel services, call now. That's right, call. That's the only way to get these rates. Experts are standing by 24/7 to get you the cheapest airfare and hotel rates available. So don't wait. Call right now for the lowest travel prices anywhere and for great last-minute travel deals too.
Call 888-431-0562. That's 888-431-0562. 888-431-0562. 888-431-0562.
Friend, do you remember when it felt good to withdraw your cash from the bank to expand a business, go on vacation, or buy a new car? Well, today, withdrawing your own cash has become a very risky business, according to the secret war, a shocking new research report. I just read it. And folks, I was amazed to learn why banks are now required to spy on us for the government and then report any suspicious or unusual behavior. I suggest you get The Secret War free. Just call the number on the screen, no charge, from the folks at Swiss America. And get this, did you know simply spending cash today may be enough to have you branded as a potential criminal? That's right. The new war on cash is really a war against all freedom-loving Americans. The Secret War is yours free, so call the number on the screen and you can tell them Pat Boone gave you the number.
And once again, we want to welcome you back. This is the Conservative Commandos radio show. My co-host today is Sharron Engel. I'm Rick Trader, and for rebroadcast, check out that website of ours, ccrshow.com. That's ccrshow.com. And Sharron, our next guest is with us. Please make that introduction.
Again, I'm very honored and pleased to introduce another longtime friend of this show, Michael Busler, who is a public policy analyst and professor of finance at Stockton University, where he teaches undergraduate and graduate courses in finance and economics. He has written op-ed columns in major newspapers for more than 35 years. Michael, welcome back to the Conservative Commandos radio show.
Well, thank you, Sharron. It's always my pleasure to be here, and hi to you too, Rick.
We love reading your articles. We know here at Conservative Commandos radio show that it's all about the economy. That was a truism then, and it's still true now. And you've written an article, Obama fundamentally transformed America and Trump's transforming it back. And the biggest transformation seems to be economics. So let's talk about that a little bit, what Obama did and how Trump has reversed that.
So when President Obama was campaigning for office, he said he wanted to fundamentally change America. And 5 days before the election, he gave a speech in Missouri, as I recall, said we're only 5 days away from making these fundamental changes. So what exactly did he do? Well, if you take a look at the big picture, the U.S. went from the birth of a nation to the #1 economy in the world, most prosperous country in the world, in about 150 years. Now, how did we do that? Other nations were hundreds, in some cases thousands of years older. How did the U.S. do that? I believe there were 4 basic principles that allowed the U.S. to do that. One, we encouraged individual freedom. So people were free to pursue their own self-interest and do what they thought was best for them. 2, we encouraged individual responsibility, that people primarily, when possible, took care of themselves and didn't rely on anybody else to take care of them. 3, we had very low rates of taxation so that a person knew whatever income you earned, you got to keep most of it. Remember, it wasn't until the early 1900s that we had any kind of an income tax, although we flirted with one a little bit earlier. But the income tax came about in the early 1900s, Social Security tax in the mid-1930s. Prior to that, we had extremely low rates of taxation so people could keep the income that they earned. And fourthly, we had a very limited role for government. There's certain public goods, defense of the country, legal system, etc., certain public goods that government provides, but beyond that, the government got out of the way of the economy and just let the economy do what it did, and we were able to prosper. President Obama wanted to change that. He said that society has a responsibility to take care of everybody's health care. He said that we have a responsibility to make sure that big banks and corporations don't take advantage of the public and consumers. So President Obama put in a bunch of legislation, a lot of regulations, some signed through executive order, that tended to protect consumers but limited their freedom. He passed the Affordable Care Act. The idea was we're going to provide health care for every American, or at least as many as we could. But once he did that, it transferred from individual responsibility to a social responsibility. In order to pay for these things, President Obama, particularly in the Affordable Care Act, there were 21 new taxes put forth in the Affordable Care Act, so taxes went up. When the Bush tax cuts expired in 2011, he made them permanent for everyone except the upper classes. Their taxes went up by 10%. That tended to reduce capital formation and slow economic growth. He also raised the capital gains tax rate. That too reduced the capital formation and tended to slow economic growth. So what President Obama did, and what the current Democrats running for president want to continue doing, is change America away from what made us great. The programs that they put in will limit individual freedom. The government's going to control the healthcare system, perhaps higher education. That will limit your freedom. 2, it will discourage individual responsibility because now the government's going to take care of you. You don't have to take care of yourself. 3, in order to pay for this, taxes will have to go up even further. So we'll have high rates of taxation. And now you have the government involved in everybody's life. So President Trump was running for office and he said, these things will not make America great. In fact, they'll hurt America. And indeed, Obama's policies resulted in essentially a stagnant economy. His entire 8 years in office, economic growth averaged under 2% per year. That led to all kinds of problems with unemployment, underemployment, people dropping out of the workforce. So President Trump came in and he said, I'm going to make America great again, and I'm going to go back to the fundamentals that did make us great. So he is encouraging individual freedom. He's encouraging individual responsibility rather than social responsibility. He's already gotten the tax rates down, and he's going to try to get them down a little further, and he wants to get government out of people's lives. So President Trump is reversing what President Obama did, and it's going to be different than what the current Democrats running for office want.
Well, and it certainly has been a benefit to the American people in more jobs and better paying jobs. At least we're feeling it right here in my community for sure. I want to go a little bit off track, but I know that you will have a good definition for us. Capitalism has become a dirty word. And they accuse us of being capitalists. I think I'm proud to be accused of being a capitalist. And I think it's because there's a pretty good definition that they are unaware of what true capitalism is. So could you just kind of give us a good definition of what capitalism means and why it is a foundational economic principle in this country?
So the basic principle of capitalism is an individual is paid according to their contribution. Now that's different than communism. Communism says you contribute according to your ability and you're paid according to your need. If we assume everybody has about the same needs, everybody has about the same income. The problem with that is the system doesn't work in the long run. It may not even work in the short run. And the reason is very simple. There's no incentive for anybody to work any harder and produce any more, because no matter how much more you produce, you're getting the same as everybody else. So the economy tends to stagnate. Capitalism, on the other hand, encourages individual freedom and says to people, figure out how to contribute to this economy. The more you're able to contribute to the economy, the more you'll get paid. That's a tremendous incentive for people to continue to produce more, to come up with new innovations, to help the economy grow. The other big difference with capitalism is the concept of private property. So when you produce something, get income, and you buy property, you own it. And you get to do, within laws obviously, whatever you want to do with it. And upon your passing, you can bequeath that to whomever you desire. In communism, they say people are motivated not primarily by self-interest, they're motivated by what's best for society. So a central planning agency will determine what is best for society. So when you pass, your property goes to the state, and the state determines who best should have it.
Wow.
So it's the whole concept of individual freedom, individual responsibility, keeping tax rates low, and getting people, encouraging people to produce more, contribute more to the economy, and they know they're going to get paid for it. My students who think socialism is a good idea, I keep saying to them, well, they say to me, look, I think it's a good idea that someone's going to pay my tuition for me and that the government's going to excuse my debt. And I said, well, the government doesn't have any money. All they have is what they take from taxpayers. And after you graduate, you're going to become a taxpayer. So if you get 4 years of college, for the next 40 or 50 years, you're going to be working, paying taxes for somebody else to go to college. It's not really what you want. You want to be able to take care of yourself, take responsibility for yourself, and to keep most of what you earn.
And do they follow your logic, or do their eyes glaze over and roll back in their head like you've just given them some kind of foreign language? Do they receive from you? I guess that's my question.
Usually they scratch their head a little bit and start thinking about it. Remember, the vast majority of college professors take a very liberal view of things. And when I talk to my students, they come into the classroom with a very liberal view and, unfortunately, a very one-sided view. And that it irks me, because the purpose of college, aside from learning some specific things, the real purpose of college is to learn critical thinking skills so you can figure things out for yourself and make good decisions. Well, if you're going to be able to make a good decision, you need good information. And if you're only getting it from one side, you're not going to end up making good decisions into the long term. I wish they listened a little more. They scratch their head, and I hope some of it is sinking in.
I hope
they
so
will
too.
When they pay the taxes. They will when they pay the mortgages and buy their own insurance.
If they had to write a check for those taxes rather than just having them automatically withdrawn, I think there would be a come to Jesus moment on taxation. But we are coming to you from the Conservative Commandos Radio Network studios and around the world on the internet with TalkStream Live, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, American Political Radio, Leading Edge Radio Network, and AM/FM 24/7. Now you can watch our TV show on the AUN TV network in Northern California and soon in Nevada. We have been talking with our guest, Michael Busler, who is a public policy analyst and a professor of finance at Stockton University. We've been talking about his article, which is entitled Obama Fundamentally Transformed America, Trump's Transforming It Back. I'm Sharron Engel. I'm here with my co-host, Rick Trader, and we'll be right back with our guest, Michael Busler.
Have you been leasing a property for your business or renting storage space? Are you tired of paying rent year after year? Call the experts at General Steel to own a building at up to 30% off now.
I'd been renting a building and paying someone else's mortgage, but General Steel showed me how I could own a space tailored to the needs of my business and for less than renting.
Call General Steel now at the number on your screen for our current building specials and to price your metal building system today.
My building's the dream I've had since finishing my house 14 years ago. I've been using it for a garage, workshop, and storage area for my tools and equipment, and I can't believe how great it turned out.
The economy is improving and the price of steel is expected to rise. Stop waiting. It could cost you thousands. Call General Steel now to see how you can own for less than you thought. Stop waiting to start your business or expand your operation. Call General Steel now.
Call 877-484-7002.
Everybody wants cheap airfare, but where do you find it? You call low-cost airlines. Their prices are direct from the airlines, and they're so low you can't find these fares published anywhere. They specialize in cheap flights, discount hotel rooms, cheap car rental rates, and great package deals anywhere around the world. Wherever you want to go, they can help you get there cheaply and with a best price guarantee. If you want the lowest prices on your airline tickets or other travel services, call now. That's right, call. That's the only way to get these rates. Experts are standing by 24/7 to get you the cheapest airfare and hotel rates available. So don't wait. Call right now for the lowest travel prices anywhere and for great last-minute travel deals too.
Call 888-431-0562. That's 888-431-0562. 888-431-0562. 888-431-0562.
And welcome back. Once again, welcome back to the Conservative Commandos radio show. I'm Rick Trader. My co-host is Sharron Angle. And our guest this segment is Dr. Michael Busler. He's a professor of finance at Stockton University. And Michael, welcome back. And thank you for holding through that break. You know, Michael, when you talk about your students there at Stockton University, we should do a little experiment. I would love to come to one of your classes and sit right at the front, and you introduce me as a new student, Rick. And Rick is going to be a member of this class, and he's not going to do anything but sit here. Every class, Rick's going to be here, and he's just going to sit here. And that half your grade is going to go to Rick. Rick's not going to do anything, but he's going to get half your grade. So if you're expecting an A, you'll be getting a C, but so will Rick. Okay? If you get a B, you're only going to get a C, but Rick is going to get an A. You see, let's show them. Let's really give them an example of what socialism is. I really do think that they have no idea what socialism really means. The same as people really had no idea what Barack Obama meant when he said, we are going to fundamentally change America. I think America thought the way I did, this was just another campaign slogan. This was just more campaign rhetoric. It really didn't mean anything, but we should have listened to this guy because he was serious.
Yeah, we certainly should have. And he did make some major changes that fortunately President Trump is reversing. You know, Rick, your example in the classroom, I use a very similar example to the students. So we have 5 students in the class. You need at least a 70 to get credit for the class. So one person gets a 95, the other 4 get 65s. So I say, well, for the one that has 95, I'm going to take 20 points away. They'll end up with a 75, better than passing. Then I can give the extra 20 points, 5 each to the other 4, and everybody will pass. Is that okay with you? Well, that's not fair, they say. That's not right. I'm trying to go to graduate school. I need the A. Well, I understand that, but that's essentially what you're saying with socialism. Socialism takes income away from people that have earned it and gives it to people who, for whatever reason, have not earned it. That is not a good thing. It slows economic growth, which is why the economy was so stagnant under the Obama administration and why it's starting to grow under the Trump administration.
You know, Michael, it always boggled my mind how anybody could think Barack Obama was qualified to be president in the first place. After all, while he was a state senator, what did he do? He voted president like 159 times. In other words, he didn't vote yes or no. It's just that he was there. He was very undistinguished when he was U.S. senator, but, you know, he never really had a job. He never signed the front of the paycheck, yet this guy was supposed to be this genius, and we had to have him right now. Okay, we had to have him right now. He made some very interesting comments when he was the president, talking about the GDP, when the GDP was crawling along at like 1%. He goes, hey, folks, this is the new normal. Mm-hmm. When gas was $4 a gallon, he says, you can't drill yourself back. You're never going to drill yourself to $2.50 gas again. And by the way, I got it in Delaware not too long ago for about $2.13. The stock market, right? 29,000, Michael. It's 29,000 now. It's gone up about 12,000 points since Trump has been in office. The GDP, what is it? 3.5%. unemployment is 3.5%. Can it get any lower than that, Michael?
No, it's way below a full employment level, and it's down. Hasn't been that low in more than 50 years. And President Trump is to thank for that. You know, the Democrats and Obama, when they see people that are in need, they just want to give them things. Give them food stamps, give them welfare, give them health care, give them just give them things. Well, most of the people that get it don't really want it to be given to them. Now, they take it because they don't have any other choice. But what President Trump said was, I'm not going to give you free things, but I'm going to give you what you really want. And what you really want is opportunity. So you can earn the income to pay for these things yourself. And his economy is working well for everyone. The people at the lowest income levels have seen the largest increases in wages and incomes. So these people that have been on the government dole many of them for a lifetime, some for generations, are now finding opportunity, and they're getting some self-esteem and feeling some self-worth that I don't need the government to pay for this for me. I have opportunity now. I can earn my own income, and I can pay for these things myself. I think it does a tremendous amount to build up self-esteem and good feelings in people, and I think it will help eventually to solve a lot of the social problems we have, not just the economic problems.
Michael, in your article, you talk about Obamacare. Every employer had to offer health care insurance to any employer working less than 30 hours a week. How'd that work out for the country, Michael?
Terrible. So normally the average work week is 40 hours a week. President Obama said, well, I want everybody covered with health insurance. So I'm now defining full-time employment as 30 hours per week. And all companies above a certain size either have to pay health insurance or pay a $3,000 fine. Now that stagnates the economy, reduces hiring, and keeps economic growth down. So when President Obama put that in, it did tend to slow economic growth. So what employers did was, instead of hiring a full-time worker, they would hire 2 part-time workers. So now lower income people had to work a couple of different jobs to make enough to have ends meet. Now you hear people, the Democrats are saying, well, look, somebody's working, has to work 2 jobs to make ends meet. And that's true. And the reason is you define full-time job as 30 hours a week, and you put this burden on employers. So President Trump is doing what he can he came within 1 vote in the Senate of having this whole healthcare mess resolved. That the House had passed it. We were 1 vote shy in the Senate. Otherwise, he would have put in something that would have encouraged more individual freedom in healthcare and more individual responsibility. So people would take care of themselves, and he gave them the opportunity to take care of themselves rather than a government program that will be nothing more than a big boondoggle. The quality of healthcare will go down. The cost of healthcare will go up. It'll help the lowest income earners, but the other 85-90% of us are going to get clobbered by this. And fortunately, the Supreme Court's going to listen to some arguments in this next session about the constitutionality of the Affordable Care Act, now that the individual mandate has been taken out by Congress. So we're going to have to revisit this sometime this year, and I hope we fix it.
Dr. Michael Busler, professor of finance at Stockton University. Michael, have you done any sort of unofficial polls of your students to see who they're supporting for president?
Bernie Sanders.
Bernie Sanders.
Yes, of course.
That's why you're so important, my friend.
I would say 80 to 90% support Bernie Sanders, and the ones that don't probably support Elizabeth Warren.
Oh, my gosh. Oh, my gosh. Well, maybe I'll get out of this world before they take charge. But Dr. Michael Busler, we want to thank you so much for joining us here on Conservative Command Us. Michael, please tell our audience how they could follow your work and read what you write. And how can they get your class?
Well, there's still room in the classes, so the term doesn't start till next week, so we can squeeze some more people in.
Like me, to just sit there and get a grade?
And I tell the students they're going to have to share their points with you, and let's see what they say to that. So if you want to find my
Kick
work,
the old man out.
my Twitter account is at @mbusler. That's at MBUSLER. I also, if you're on Facebook, search Funding Democracy. Funding Democracy on Facebook, and you can see all my columns there.
By the way, I put in a Facebook request for you to friend me months ago, and you haven't done it yet.
I'll look through my list. I'll fix it today, I promise.
Dr. Michael Busler, it's always great to have you with us. Take care and God bless.
Thank you. My pleasure.
And this is the Conservative Commandos radio show with Sharron Angle and yours truly, Rick Trader, very soon to be a student at Stockton University in Pomona, New Jersey, coming to you from the studios of the Conservative Commandos Radio Network. Don't go away. Sharron and I will be back with more news and commentary right after this break.
Everybody wants cheap airfare, but where do you find it? You call low-cost airlines. Their prices are direct from the airlines, and they're so low you can't find these fares published anywhere. They specialize in cheap flights, discount hotel rooms, cheap car rental rates, and great package deals anywhere around the world. Wherever you want to go, they can help you get there cheaply and with a best price guarantee. If you want the lowest prices on your airline tickets or other travel services, call now. That's right, call. That's the only way to get these rates. Experts are standing by 24/7 to get you the cheapest airfare and hotel rates available. So don't wait. Call right now for the lowest travel prices anywhere and for great last-minute travel deals too.
Call 888-431-0562. That's 888-431-0562. 888-431-0562. 888-431-0562.
Friend, do you remember when it felt good to withdraw your cash from the bank to expand a business, go on vacation, or buy a new car? Well, today, withdrawing your own cash has become a very risky business, according to The Secret War, a shocking new research report. I just read it. And folks, I was amazed to learn why banks are now required to spy on us for the government and then report any suspicious or unusual behavior. I suggest you get The Secret War free. Just call the number on the screen, no charge, from the folks at Swiss America. And get this, did you know simply spending cash today may be enough to have you branded as a potential criminal? That's right. The new war on cash is really a war against all freedom-loving Americans. The Secret War is yours free, so call the number on the screen and you can tell them Pat Boone gave you the number.
Well, Sharron, I want to thank you for sitting in today as my co-host. Please tell our audience how they could follow what you're doing when you're not here at Conservative Commandos.
Well, thanks for asking. Of course, they can go to SharronAngle.com, SharronAngle.com. But I want to thank our guests, Rick. They're just the hallmark of our show. First, we had Congressman Bob Barr from Georgia's 7th District. He has served there from 1995 to 2003, and he was talking to us about Bloomberg. Republicans dismiss Bloomberg and Democrats dismiss Bloomberg at their own peril. So we learned a little bit about a self-made billionaire today. And our second guest, Tyler O'Neill, who's senior editor at PJ Media, he wrote an article about Chick-fil-A regrets inadvertently discrediting outstanding groups like the Salvation Army. We didn't make a definitive on that. We're still waiting to see if they really did regret it or if it was just a good business decision to back off. Finally, our guest, Michael Busler, who's a public policy analyst and a professor of finance at Stockton University, wrote an article about Obama fundamentally transforming America and Trump transforming it back. And we had a pretty good discussion, I think, on the difference between capitalism and socialism and what makes America great again. So I want to thank all of them for being on our show today.
Okay. But for right now, once again, we are out of time. Once again, we got to go. Take care. God bless. And as always, we'll see you tomorrow on TV and on radio.